The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
He's a Brooklyn native with over 20 years in the music industry. He took his knowledge of the music industry and built a Black-owned artist booking and management company. Dino Pereira joins me here on this next episode of Perspectives. Don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. We're coming up right now with yours truly, Darren Jaime.
What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
Express what's on your mind. What's on your mind?
Let 'em know.
Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it. The host with the most would handle any topic. Don't forget to share your perspective with shines of light. Cause it might make a difference in someone else's life.
Make a difference.
What's your perspective?
Express what's in your heart and your mind. Share your perspective.
What's your perspective?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Perspectives. I am Darren Hyman. Of course, we thank you for watching. As you know, you can watch Perspectives every week here on BronxNet's Channel 67. If you have Verizon Files, of course, that'd be Channel 33, or you can check us out on the web at bronxnet.org, and you can catch a new episode and some of the old episodes of Perspectives. Of course, you're welcome to stay connected to us also via our social media sites. That's Twitter, that's Facebook, and Instagram, and my professional page on Facebook, Darren C. Jaime. Of course, you can get some news as well as some inspiration. Coming up on this edition of Perspectives, his company has booked entertainment for the NBA, the NFL, the NHL, and the WNBA, including the last three NBA finals for the defending champion, Golden State Warriors, and the 28 Arena Football Championship. In 2005, he joined Urban Music and booking agency Universal Attractions and became a senior agent. Universal Attractions is a booking agency in business for over 65 years, specializing in booking shows, including concert tours, R&B, gospel, hip-hop, I should say, and funk. My word is just a little bit off right now. But while working at Universal Attractions, he created his own small talent booking management company, which has been growing fast each year. And he departed Universal Attractions in 2013 to run and expand his own entertainment company full-time as president and CEO. In addition, he continues to do all this as he works in radio, as well as a senior producer and board operator on the #1 R&B and hip-hop station, Power 105. We welcome now Mr. Dino Pereira to the show, and good to have you, man.
Thank you for having me so much.
Hey, man, great. So a lot of work going on, huh?
I try to stay as busy as possible.
Yeah, I think so. That's a lot. It's a lot going on.
I try.
What part do you enjoy the most? I mean, obviously working for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it. I mean, you know, growing up, you go to school and everybody's like, get a good job, make a living for yourself. And I just got to a point where it was like, do I really want to continue working for somebody, or do I really want to give it a shot and work for myself? And I decided to take the leap of faith and start my own business, and I've never looked back.
So when you talk about starting your own business, obviously we talked about, you know, your company and how you booked entertainment for a lot of these guys, you know, sports stars, and talk about the Golden State Warriors as they're right around the cusp of possibly, do you find you might be working again? If they,
I've already spoken to them. It was funny because they reached out to me last week about possibly doing Game 5 today. But then when I was talking with them, I'm like, what if y'all sweep? Which they did. So
there it is.
Hey, hopefully, you know, they'll get the call for this year's finals.
That's good. Well, talk to me a little bit more about your career. Obviously, you know, in the business, and then you made the decision to leave the business and pursue your career. But first, walk me through the business a little bit, and, you know, being that artist management and booking agent.
Well, music has been in my life it's just been a part of my life from birth. You know, I had a cousin that was a singer. He used to be on Roulette Records. You know, that's the label that Frankie Lyman and everybody was on. And I just been around music all my life. And when I was 13, I started DJing. And, you know, kind of parlayed that into hitting into the clubs. And then one day I was coming out of school. I was taking a night course in college, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, you know who this guy is?" I'm like, "No," and I'm looking the guy up and down like he's crazy. Come to find out, he's a guy that used to be on WBLS, and I used to listen to him every night.
Who's that?
It's a guy named Merlin Bob.
Okay.
And I gave him, went home. I was like, "Yo, man, I'm a DJ. I want to give you a tape." He's like, "Yeah, make a tape. Here's my card." Sent him a tape. Never heard from him. I'm like, "Oh my God, my tape must have really sucked." He hit me up about a week or two later and was like, "Yo, man, I've been traveling." Because at that point, he was working for the record company, Atlantic Records, and then he was also still DJing for BLS. And he was like, "Yo, come down to the radio station and hang out with us." And I was like, "All right." I went down there, hung out with them. Next thing you know, I just showed up every Saturday. Not invited, just showed up. I was sitting in the lobby waiting for them. And they used to look at me and they were like, "Oh, okay." And then they were like, "Come in, come on."
Yeah.
And they started showing me how to do stuff in the studio. And me and Vaughn Harper were really good friends anyway already. And right around that time is when Frankie Crocker came back to the station, and Frankie hired me to work and do the Quiet Storm with Vaughn, and me and Vaughn were together ever since.
Wow.
And it just continued to go from there, man. You know, went from record company to radio, and then once I decided to leave the radio thing, well, I was still doing the radio thing, but when I decided to leave the record company thing, you know, somebody had told me about, "Yo, you know, they got this agency's looking for somebody." I went in there and became a senior agent, and then started to see the other side of the business, not as a music executive, but now as on the management and booking side.
Right.
It was just like a big full circle thing.
So talk to me about the management and booking side for you. Was that a huge leap?
You know what? I don't think it was a huge leap, because when I used to work at record companies, I was an A&R person, and an A&R person basically is very close to the artist. You know, you're dealing with the management, but you're very close to the artist because you're there with them. You're going over, listening to music, you're listening to producers, you're listening to songwriters, and y'all are collaborating on trying to put a record together, something that we can put together that the masses are gonna like.
Right.
So you sit there and you get close to artists, you learn to understand how they're thinking, you learn to ask questions about what's gonna make them fulfill their music careers. So it was really not that big of a leap. It was, you know, learning more on how to sit there and fashion contracts and make sure that when you're booking an artist, you know, you got the best foot, you're putting their best foot forward, as well as it's a marriage between the artist and the promoter. You want to make sure everybody's happy.
Yeah.
You know.
And sometimes that's hard work.
Oh yeah, it's very hard work, especially when you got temperamental artists or you got promoters that don't want to provide certain, you know, things that the artists need for shows. I've seen a lot of different scenarios.
And for you, what's the hardest part of running your own business here?
Hardest part is, you know, it's one thing to book the shows, but then when you have to get into the other aspects of, you know, the finances and the taxes, and, you know, you have to deal with lawyers and stuff like that. You know, initially I never thought about running a company, you know, but as you realize, and once you start doing it, you start to realize that you got guys out there that are running Fortune 500 companies. They're in the same position, because you're never going to walk into running a company knowing everything. You're learning on the fly every day. But if you sit there and you study the craft, you look at what other people do, that's how you become successful. You sit there and you try to avoid as many pitfalls as possible. You know, I didn't go into this blindly. I didn't go in, "Oh, well, I'm gonna start a company." I know guys right now, be like, "Oh, I got a company," but when you email them, you're emailing them at a Gmail. You know, you're not gonna email me at a Gmail. You're gonna email me at my company's extension.
Right.
You know, a lot of these guys, "Oh, I got a company." Well, you got a company, okay, well, I need to send you money. Okay, well, again, you send the money to my girlfriend?
Right.
They don't have business escrow accounts, things like that. A lot of these guys, you know, business is about business. And if you don't have your business set up, you're in trouble. You know, I recently it took me a year. I just filed trademark paperwork, and it took a year for it to get cleared.
A year.
A year.
Right.
And initially when I started my company, I was like, you know, I'm gonna make some t-shirts. So I made some t-shirts with my company name on them. So when I was talking to my trademark attorney, I was like, "Oh, I made some t-shirts." He was like, "Well, you need a trademark for that." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "I already did a trademark." He's like, "No, you have a trademark for the name." He said, "When you're making merchandise, t-shirts, hats, jackets, bags, sneakers, whatever you're making, you need a trademark for that." So I had to file a second trademark just for merchandise. You know, a lot of these people just, you know, you got guys out there that go out there and like I got a friend of mine, he has a company. is it your company? Are you incorporated? Nah, man, this is my company. Dude, how do you know somebody else doesn't own the name?
Right.
And next thing you know, that's how a lot of these guys get burnt. They have a company and then they have to change the spelling. They don't do the research.
Right. Come back and talk a little bit more with Dino about being in the business of things you need to know and a little bit more about him. We'll be right back right after this.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
And we're back here on Perspectives with Dino Pereira, and he's sharing a little bit about the great work that he's been doing, owning his own business, but not just owning his own business, but also working at 105.1.
You know, it's funny, man. Vaughn Harper had left WBLS, and me and Vaughn, like I said, me and Vaughn have been, you know, tied at the hip since the day we got together at BLS. And a friend of mine, I used to go to, matter of fact, a guy I used to go to college with was the music director at 105 at the time. And at the time, it wasn't Power 105, it was called Jammin' 105.
Right.
It was an urban AC station, just like Kiss FM and BLS. And the guy called me and goes, oh, you still speak to Vaughn? I'm like, yeah, of course. He was like, can you call him and tell him, yo, I'd like to have a conversation with him. So I called Vaughn. I was like, hey, man, I spoke to such and such. He wants to talk with you. He was like, all right, give him my number. Gave it a couple of days. I was like, yo, did you ever have a conversation with them? He was like, yeah, they want me to come and do a show at Jammin' 105. I'm like, really? I said, what'd you tell him? He was like, oh, I told him I'd do it only if you were with me. I was like, hey, whatever you want to do, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So we went in there, and the funny part was we go in, and we were only on one night a week, Sunday nights. That's it. We was doing a show. It was like The Quiet Storm, but it was called Between the Sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Went in there, and they never told me what I was paid, what I was getting paid, nothing. We started on a Sunday night. I walked in. I didn't know what I was getting paid, nothing.
You just did it.
Just went in, we did it, and just kept going. And they were like, as time went on, we were only on one night a week, but our ratings was so crazy. They were like, we got to put y'all on 5 nights a week. And right around that time is when they decided to flip the radio station. So they over there decided, they were like, oh, we're going to keep you. You know, you're a good producer, we can keep you. And now, 18 years later, I'm still there. 18 years later, I'm still there.
Right. So what does your job consist of as producer?
As a producer, you're basically, you know, everything that you hear on the air, I'm in charge of. You know, the commercials. You know, if you're working with if you're working with an air personality, you know, their mic, everything that goes on, you're the one in charge of it. Mm-hmm. You know, I produce several mix shows over there. You know, so it's just like a gamut of things. You know, but there's a lot going on because whatever you're doing. You know, it's one thing when you used to work at a college radio station, you know, the only people hearing if you screw up is the people on the campus. You know, you screw up there, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of people hearing you screw up.
That's it. Talk about the emergence of Breakfast Club, man.
Hey man, you know, radio is a funny thing, man. You know, it's a flip of a coin. Sometimes you put a team of people together, and you can only hope that it'll work. And it really worked. You know, Envy and Angela and Charlemagne are very professional people. They came together, and everybody focused on that one goal to become a very strong morning show. And for any radio station in the country, your main focus is having a strong morning show because that leads into the rest of your day.
Right.
And that's where, you know, radio people don't understand. They're like, oh, I'm tired of hearing commercials. That's how the radio station pays their bills. That's their money. That's their income. And the more commercials you hear, that means the more money the radio station is making. You know, you have some very, very, very strong stations out there making a lot of money. You know, Light FM is like the top billing station in the world, in the country. You know, that's a radio station bringing in $50-60 million a year. It's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money. And given the fact that, you know, what we talk about right now, record sales being down, you know, making money is at a radio station is really
you know,
a struggle.
It's a struggle, but it's also really kind of surreal also because when you look at it, radio used to be the driving force for the artists to go out there and sell records. You know, you put a record together, CD, LP, whatever you want to call it. You put it together, you get it to radio stations, and hopefully they sit there and they add it, and you're getting it played. People are becoming aware of the name of the song, and now people are interested in going to the record store and being like, yo, I want to buy the record. Now it's just like, okay, you know, they'll be like, you know, if I got iTunes or wherever, I'm going to go and check it out. If I got, you know, Amazon, I'm going to go and see if I like it. If I like it, I'm going to go through the whole CD and pick songs that I want. Before, you used to have to go to the record store and be like, yo, I want this Big Daddy Kane CD. Give me the whole CD. And you're going to listen to the whole CD. You may not like everything, but you had to still buy that CD. So you're going to get credit for that sale. In this day and age, it's like, oh, you know, I got a CD out. I got 15 songs on the CD, but people only purchasing this one single.
There goes the life.
It's hard. It's a totally different world out there. You know, it's all about downloads now.
Yeah. You mix with a lot of people.
Right?
A lot of celebrities. Talk about some of the people you work with.
2 weeks ago, I was just with Biz Markie. We did a Milwaukee Bucks game, which was really good. I mean, I've booked a ton of people: Biz Markie, Slick Rick, Montel Jordan, Rob Bass. It was funny. I'm on my way here, and I got a call yesterday from the Memphis Grizzlies about bringing Rob Bass in to do something for their draft pick. Because they have the number 2 draft pick in the draft this year.
Right.
So they were like, we want to bring Rob Bass in to do It Takes Two. Because they have the number 2 pick.
Right.
You know, so it's just
and possibly Ja and Mike Conley.
Yeah.
So that's the
Hey, you never know, man.
you make it work though. I know that.
I'm going. Hey, I already spoke to Rob. He's available.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Now it's just getting back to the team and being like, he's available. Let's consummate the deal.
Yeah. And so for you, do you ever get fazed by the people that you work with? I always ask people all the time. You know, you meet a celebrity. You know, you're working with a celebrity. Is there any?
You know what? I think the thing about me is that I understand it's a business, but I still like to go to all of the shows. I try to make every show that I book because I'm still a fan. And no matter how many times I've seen him perform, it's always going to be different. You know, like Rob Bass has done a ton of different halftimes for me. It's always different wherever you go somewhere. Like Coolio is another artist that I book a lot. He did a halftime for me the first time last year for the Chicago Bulls. And I always follow up with him. Hey, how did everything go? Because I couldn't go to that one at the particular time. And they were like, Dino, it was one of the best halftimes we ever had. And they brought him back again this season. That's like I had Coolio do a Cleveland Cavaliers game this year. I didn't go. I hit the team up. Hey, how did everything go? The guy was like, I've worked here for 14 years. It was the best halftime we've ever had. So, you know, and I knew Coolio had big records.
Right.
You know, but I went to see, when I did a game with him and Gangsta's Paradise came on, it's like the crowd lost their mind. Same thing with Montel Jordan. Montel Jordan's done numerous halftimes for me. And the great part about with Montel is that he'll go and he kind of fashions the words for each team. You know, so like we did last year, it was game 4 for the playoff. No, I think it was game 4. I think it was game 4 of the NBA playoffs. Team Warriors called me up and was like, we're having a watch party at the arena. Now, they were on the road in Cleveland. And they were like, we're having a watch party at the arena. We're going to invite all of the fans to come and watch the game inside the arena on the Jumbotron. We want Montel to come and perform at halftime. Montel comes in and performs at halftime, refashions the words. He's like, oh, me and Steph and Clay win the championship and making the dash. They went crazy because I get videotape of all of the halftimes. It was just crazy.
Wow.
It was nuts. Like last year, game 1 of the NBA Finals, I had Salt and Pepper do halftime. You know, and it was just, you know, the moon and stars were all lined up. They just happened to be performing in San Francisco, which is maybe a 20-minute drive from Oakland, the night before.
Wow.
They were like, yo, can we make it happen? Phone calls, emails. It's done. Salt and Pepper at halftime.
Amazing. Dino Pereira here with us, talking a little bit about his career, making it happen. Coming up, we're going to give you some tips. If you want to be in the business, what you need to know. Stay with us. Coming right back right after this.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
And we are back here on Perspectives, continuing our conversation with Dino Pereira, who's sharing a little bit about some of the work that you've done, some celebrities that you've worked with. But I want to take it for a couple seconds to talk to somebody who's out there watching, right? Because young people always think that, you know, the greatest career is sometimes in front of the camera or in front of the mic or holding the microphone. But you have made a great life by really being behind the scenes.
I'd rather be behind the scenes.
Right. So give somebody the clues of, not even the clues, but what does it take to do what you do?
Well, I think first things first is that you have to sit there and really understand that, you know, everybody, oh, I want to be in the music business. Notice what that is, music business. It's about business. You know, a lot of people, oh, I want to be a rapper. No matter what you want to do, it's still a business. And businesses are about profit and making money and moving and elevating. And a lot of times people just go into it blindly thinking that, oh, well, if I do this, I'm going to be able to do that. No, I think that you have to sit there and understand every nuance of the business. Like I said, I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would run a company. Do I want to sit there and be dealing with lawyers and dealing with accountants? You know, January comes around, it's a headache because you have to sit there and prepare all of your corporate taxes and, you know, you got to do all of your, you know, invoices. It's painful, but this is part of running a business.
Right.
You know, that's like, you know, there are different acronyms in the music business. Like people hear A&R, they go, oh, what's that? They think it's accounts receivable, when in A&R in the music business means artist and repertoire. You know, so there's a lot of different things. Like, you know, somebody sits there and they want to book a show and you be like, well, I'm gonna send you their writer. Be like, well, what's the writer? There's a lot of different, you know, there's language out there that you need to know and understand as well. And it's not like, you know, with the advent of the internet, that information is out there. But everybody wants to go into it and be like, oh, well, you know, can you hook me up with a job? You know, in a perfect world, I wish I could give all my friends jobs and people in my family jobs. But, you know, your margin for error is going to be very, very small. can't put somebody in a position that doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
And that's a big problem with a lot of the artists. You know, they have people that are in positions that don't know what they're doing, and they're not looking out for the best interests of their artists.
I take it pains you to watch or to see somebody on television, to hear their story break, and you watch it, you say, wow, I know they got screwed.
Oh, yeah. It happens a million times over. I mean, I've spoken to a million acts. I remember one time I was with a 70s act. They were an older act. They told me about, they went to do a show, places sold out, not a seat open. Opening acts coming off the stage, and usually most acts won't go on stage until they get paid. A promoter was like, nah, go ahead, go on stage. I got you. As soon as you come on stage, I'll take care of y'all. And they go out there, do a flawless show, bring the house down, come off stage. Okay, well, yo, where's such and such? He's got to pay us. Oh, yo, he piled all the money in a garbage can and he left. Didn't get paid. I've heard that story a million times. I just had somebody call me the other day. Yo, person called me, said they were going to book the show. They sent me a deposit. Now I can't find them. So now the show's not happening.
Wow. That's the business.
It's something, it's every day.
Every day.
Every day it happens, something new.
Well, I appreciate you making it happen for people every day.
Thank you,
Keep up
Thank
the
you for
great
having
work.
me.
And thanks for being an inspiration to a lot of people.
Thank you.
Yes. Dino Pereira, our guest here on Perspectives. I want to let you know, listen, you can do it. You know, you just got to put the hard work and the grind in, and you never know it. All things are possible if you just keep working it out. Dino Pereira is our guest here on Perspectives. I want to let you know, thank you for watching. Until the next time we meet, we tell you, stay safe. Share your perspective with somebody else, because you don't know. Just might make a difference in somebody else's life. Our producer, Curlew Burton, our in-house producer, Lindsay, and the whole Perspectives cast. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Anything relevant to life, you bring it to the table. Whether you make a move solo or a movement with a stable. No fables, you speak on your decisions. Cause in the long run, it's your voice, your views, your vision. Keeping it real with many messages for you to know. This ain't radio, but DJ runs the show. Entertainment, he rocks it. Politics, he locks it.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands? My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.